Hey guys, it's Kelsey here, your best friend on the homestead from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a delicious and nutritious drink called barley water. Now this cooks up really easily. It's basically kind of like making a fancy tea. It's very nutritious. We'll talk about the nutrition at the end. It's actually the drink that they served officially at Wimbledon for years to the professional tennis players and also to all the big wigs that were there watching the matches. So I figure this is good enough as a hydrating drink for professional tennis players, and it's good enough for me. Now, barley water has been consumed as a drink all across the world. Different cultures kind of have their own variations on the recipe. This version of the recipe that we're making today is kind of more of a traditional English barley water. So to start, you need 1 lemon, and you're gonna peel the whole lemon. You really wanna avoid kind of that white pithy part because that's gonna make it a little more bitter. It's fine if some gets in there, do the best you can. I definitely should have had a sharper knife for this, but it still worked just fine. So go all the way around your lemon. Of course, you want to wash it first. I also like to use organic lemons for sure when I'm making this drink, just because you are using that peel as part of your recipe. Put all the lemon peel in a large bowl, or you can also make this right in a 1/2 gallon mason jar or even a quart mason jar if you'd like to. I just like doing it in the bowl because it's just a little simpler for me to reuse the grains afterwards, and also this bowl has a nice pour spout, so a bowl is kind of the way I like to do it. You can also make it in a pot, whatever works. After you have peeled the lemon, then you want to juice the lemon, take out any seeds that are in there. Somehow this lemon had no seeds. It was pretty incredible. And then just pour that juice right in there as well with the lemon peel. Next thing you're gonna add is some sweetener. It's up to you what you wanna use for sweetener. I'm using about a tablespoon of raw honey here. You can also just use sugar or maple syrup or whatever kind of sugar substitute that you like to use, just something to add a little bit of sweetness to it. After you have added your sugar, this is where we are going to put in our barley. And you want to put in 2/3 a cup of hulled barley. Now there is hulled barley and there's also pearled barley. Hulled barley is better. You're going to still get some benefits from a pearled barley, but the hulled barley is really good in terms of fiber because this is a very fibrous drink. And so the hulled barley still has kind of the outer coating on it, versus the pearled barley has been kind of run through a thing where it's kind of rubbed off that outer layer. So pearled barley is actually going to cook up a lot faster for you if you're making a stew or something like that, but the hulled barley is going to have more nutritional value. So better to use the hulled, but you can certainly use pearled if that's all you can find. After that, we want to pour over top of everything 4 cups of near boiling water. If it's just right below boiling point, you're perfect. Pour it over top of everything and give it a really good stir. And then very simply, we're gonna set it aside and let it come to room temperature on its own. Once it has cooled to room temperature, you're ready to go. You actually made your barley water now. Depending on if you use the pearled barley or the hulled barley, if you use pearled, that boiling water may have been enough, and sitting in that hot water may have been enough that it could be completely cooked. Otherwise, if you did use the hulled, it'll be a little bit soft, but still not, it wouldn't be something you'd wanna just eat or use in a recipe right away. But regardless of that, you want to strain out the lemon peels and the barley from it, and you're just going to have the drink. And so I like it best served chilled, poured over ice with a little bit of lemon garnish in there is really delicious. But your drink is ready to go. It keeps in the fridge. Keep it just in a mason jar, something capped, for about 2 or 3 days or so. After that, it'll start to get a little bit kind of murky looking, and so try and drink it all within a couple of days. So that's how you make it. And now that we've covered the making it portion, here are just a couple variations you can do as well that aren't necessarily this traditional kind of English recipe. Rather than using lemon, you can use orange. So you can just add to the finished lemon product a little splash of orange juice for a little more sweetness and flavor, a little bit of vitamin C. Or if you want, instead of using lemon peel, you can use orange peel and orange juice to give you a different flavor. That would be really delicious. You just got to make sure you're using some kind of a citrus. You could use grapefruit because the citrus is really important because it's going to help to break down that kind of that hull of the hulled barley. And that is part of what allows the fiber and some of the nutrition to come out, is that acid from the citrus in there kind of busting apart those cell walls. So you do need to use some form of a citrus as part of this recipe. Now, some other variations, if you want to add some more flavor to this, if you're wondering what the flavor is in general, I'd say it's kind of like an earthy lemonade. You can kind of taste a little bit of that grain nutty flavor to it, and then it's got kind of the sharpness of the lemon. You can certainly sweeten it a little bit more if you'd like to, but it's really delicious just as is, I think, too. If you do want to impart some more flavor though, you could consider adding some herbs. So right before you pour the water in, you could put in some herbs, or maybe because herbs, if the water is too hot, you're going to cook out kind of all the volatile oils of the herbs and the flavors. So maybe after it's been cooling for a little bit, like 5-10 minutes, then you could put in some herbs like lavender, for example, would probably be good. I think lemon and thyme is a really nice combination. So you can put a couple sprigs in there and stir that into the water as well to add a little more flavor or kind of benefit depending on the herb you're putting in. Now I promised towards the end of the video we would talk about benefits of barley water. And I always think when it comes to barley water, the first time I'd ever heard of it was in Mary Poppins when the little kids are singing the song about what they don't want their new nanny to be like, and they don't want her to smell of barley water. So maybe they had a different sort of recipe they used in early 1900s England, I guess. I think it smells, like I said, kind of like an earthy lemonade. It's pretty nice. But the nutritional benefits for it, I think, go along great with the flavor. So it's great for UTIs. It's a diuretic, so it helps you kind of, move liquids through your body if you need to. I was checking out Mayo Clinic. They said that some studies have showed it can help with lowering cholesterol, can help with stabilizing blood sugar. One thing that's kind of a word of caution about barley water is it is very fibrous. You're getting a lot of fiber from it. And so it's something, if you ever tried to up your fiber intake and you ate a bunch of fibrous things or took a fiber supplement or, whatever it was, you probably noticed that it caused issues in the bathroom department. So it's something they recommend drinking in moderation and not all the time. They also say too, because it has a sweetener, but I mean, compared to, like a sugary whatever drink, it's pretty minimal sweetener. But so if you make a, mason jar's worth of this, that's 4 servings basically. So if you had, a few servings over the course of a week, that's probably going to be fine. Just kind of monitor how you're feeling, how it makes your stomach feel. It's supposed to also aid in digestion. But just maybe don't chug a full quart of barley water in one day. It's not going to be great. So has benefits, but all good things in moderation, as the saying goes. Let's talk real quick about vitamin content. So this particular recipe is going to provide per serving 35% of your daily vitamin C needs, which I think is pretty impressive just for a simple little drink like this. Also has 11% of your daily needs for iron, 17% for manganese, 14% for selenium. So, and then it also has other vitamins and minerals, but those are kind of the ones, anything that was over, sort of when I was looking at the breakdown of the recipe, anything that was over 10% I thought was worth mentioning. So it certainly has other nutritional benefits, but those are kind of the big ones. And of course, lots of fiber. Now, if you thought this video was interesting, I'm going to pop a few more videos over here that I think you might find interesting too to check out. I love using traditional recipes and cooking from scratch and everything. So if that is up your alley, give those a go and make sure you hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you here next week for more from our Rough and Tumble farmhouse.